Okay, normally this information is locked away in courses worth thousands of dollars. And according to my research, nobody on YouTube or the World Wide Web is giving this away. So happy birthday to you, baby. And let's get you educated on some welcome sequences. Okay, so this tutorial is definitely for you if you're a copywriter, if you're just learning copywriting, if you're a brand owner and you're about to write a welcome sequence for your brand, or if you work in marketing and you want to you're about to learn how to write welcome sequences from somebody who has had the pleasure of writing high converting, amazing, beautiful welcome sequences for more than 25 brands over the past couple of years. So if you're ready, open up your GoodNotes app, or your notepad or your napkin if you want to do a J.K. Rowling style, and let's get you educated on welcome sequences. Okay, so step one, which is always the research phase. So basically you need to gather all your intel before you sit down to write. And when I say intel, I mean the copywriting intel, so client avatar, product information, service information, competition research, etc. I literally go all out and create these long documents where I keep all my research that I do for my specific clients. And this is because it helps and it makes everything else easier later on. And if there's anything I hate, it's half-assing it. So the thing is that if you half-ass it in this step, you're just going to have a very hard time later on, and you'll see why as I walk you through the following steps. Now, steps 2 is everything always starts with the grand vision and the grand idea. So people always make the same mistake when they sit down to write a welcome sequence, that they jump straight into the emails. Hold on, speedy fingers, you don't even know what you're doing yet. Just give it 5 minutes. And I know what you're thinking right now. You might want to say to me, oh, Adriana, but I have this template for a welcome sequence. Can I just adjust it and use it for my brand? And my answer is sure, go ahead. Click off this video and go back to mediocre land. That's not how real marketing is done, unfortunately. So do yourself a favor and pay attention for the next 5 minutes or so. And honestly, if you treat your work seriously, then you're gonna take that template and put it where it belongs. No, that's not what I'm talking about. The template belongs in your swipe file to serve as inspiration for future projects. But anyway, back to the essence of step 1 is that no, you don't start with a template, you start with the grand vision or the grand idea. And to help you understand what I mean by that, I want you to ask yourself this question. What do you want the reader to experience when they read this sequence? So you have to decide, what do you want them to experience? Do you want them to have fun? Do you imagine them taking the metro or the tube back from work and bursting out laughing right in front of everybody else because they read one of your emails? Do you imagine them reading your email before bed, feeling super inspired, and just before they fall asleep, they're thinking about how tomorrow morning they're going to start doing something differently to completely change their life? Maybe you imagine them shedding a tear as they read a heartfelt story of one of the customers or how your brand helped change someone else's life. Do you want them to respond to you, or do you want them to forward the email to their mom or their sister, to their boyfriend? Basically, you have to answer, what do you want? And just to clarify, having a vision is so important, because if you don't have a vision, you ain't got shit. Everything successful and worthwhile that was ever created in this world started with a vision, with an idea, with something that drove the whole project. So make sure you do that and just trust me on this one. Yeah. Now this is step 2B, because it's still tied to the vision, but it's more like the practical sense that relates to the business. Like, what is the goal of the business, and what does the reader of your emails need to do to help the business achieve this goal? And usually this means a sale. So basically you're asking yourself, what's the next step in the funnel from your emails to where? What conversion rates are you looking for? What spend are you looking for to help the brand reach its goals? For example, if you know that there are 1,000 people joining the email list each week, how many of these people need to buy and how much do they need to spend? So that's the second part of the vision. On one hand, you have the customer, their goals, their aspirations, their experience with the emails. And then on the other hand, you have the business and the business goals, and you have to connect the two using the email sequence or using the vision. So step 3 is you have the vision, and now you can use the vision to create an outline for your welcome sequence. And there's a very easy way to do this. You take your vision and you ask yourself this question: what do I need to do to make this vision come to life? So obviously, if you want to make your reader laugh, you're gonna have to dig for some funny stories. But at the same time, you're gonna have to relate them to the product, service, and the audience, so it's all relevant. The same thing goes for if you want to produce shareable content that will go viral. You need to think about what pieces of content have this potential. If you want to tell heartfelt stories, you have to find some heartfelt stories. If you want to tell inspirational stories, you have to look for the inspirational stories. And then obviously you have the second part with the business goals. So if you know that a certain percentage needs to convert, then you got to think about how you're going to maximize the potential of converting these customers. So you have your CTAs, your guarantees, the way you do the offer, the way you talk about the pain points, and all that stuff. This is copywriting, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? And if you don't, then I suggest you sign up to my copywriting course. You obviously need it. Shameless plug. But moving on, so you're basically, again, asking yourself, what do I need to do in order to make my vision come to life? And the best way to do that is to make a list or brainstorm. You just need to get it all out of your system, whether these are good ideas, bad ideas, just put them all on paper or record them somewhere. And you don't want to go into too much detail on each bullet point. You just want to kind of note them down, whatever you think could be useful or is necessary. Now, obviously, if you did your research in terms of, your client avatar and the product and the competition and all that stuff, then this part will be very easy because the ideas will just flow for you. But if you didn't do your research, then you're probably going to get stuck here, or you're going to be limited to just a few ideas. Anyway, so step 3B, which is the second part of the third step, is once you have all the ideas that you've listed, you can use them to create a structure. So think of it this way: all the ideas that you have just come up with, that is your toolbox. And now your job is to pick the right tools for the job. And those tools, you will arrange them in a specific way to create a structure for the welcome sequence. Now, some tools you're going to love and you're going to think will be amazing for this welcome sequence, and some you're going to leave out. That's why you brainstorm and you get as many out as possible so you have options. You can even use sticky notes or Canva or Figma or something like that, or just sketch it out to help you visualize what the structure could be like. And obviously, I don't want you to just create one structure. Create as many as you want or as you can. So for example, in one sequence you could start it with social proof, another one you could go with the pain points and then move on to social proof. So you basically want to have a few different options to compare them and evaluate them next to each other and see which one could work best. And you want to have this choice so you can pick the best one that you can possibly come up with, as opposed to just sticking to the first one that you managed to produce. And that's why you never want to use a done template, because you're limiting yourself from the get-go. You become narrow-minded, get afraid of venturing outside of the template. Whereas when you're not using a template, you have a blank piece of paper and you can do whatever the hell you want to do with it. And honestly, you don't know. Maybe the person that created the template was literally doing a number 2 at their mum's house while they were doing that template, and you want to run a business off of it. That's why I don't really use templates. I trust my own creativity and my own intellect to create something amazing and beautiful that works. Anyway, listen, if you're still with me, then that means you're totally enjoying this video and you 100% have a crush on me. which is fine. I'm totally used to it, I promise. And honestly, I don't want you to send me flowers, but if you want to support my work, then click the like button and tell me you love me in the comment. Is that weird? If that's too weird, then it's okay. Just click the like button. We don't have to exchange pleasantries. Anyway, now that you liked the video because you're a really cool and kind person, let me teach you the rest of the steps. Okay, so now you have a few different structures that you have come up with. I need to compare them and evaluate to see which one, in your opinion, would work best for this specific welcome sequence. So you want to pick the best one, but you don't want to throw away the others because you might need them for testing later or just as inspiration. And I'll talk about testing towards the end of the video, so don't leave just yet. Please, don't leave. Oh, and by the way, this is also a good time in the process to ask somebody for their opinion. So if you have a team, or whether it's your client or somebody that you trust and is involved in the brand, ask them what they think about the different structures you have put together. But it's good to have another person's perspective on your work. Okay, so step 4 is the step where we start working on the details, the juiciness of the welcome sequence. So you have the structure in front of you, the outline, and from that you'll pretty much understand what each email has to have, or what each email is going to be about. So again, you're going to take each email one by one and approach it from the same stance that you took when you were approaching the entire welcome sequence. So for each email, you're going to think about the vision, and then create the outline for the email. And then once you have the outline, you'll just fill it in with the text. So it's a very simple method, and the reason you want to stick to it is because it gives a structure to your creativity. And if you're not a creative person, then that's also okay, because what this does is it basically gives you an easy way of creating, because you're literally filling in bits as opposed to staring at a blank piece of paper trying to figure out what to do. So the reason you want to have a vision for each email is because each email is going to be different. So when you're sharing your brand story, you want the reader to feel connected to you. And then when you're sharing a discount, you want them to feel the hype, the urgency to buy. And obviously, when you have a vision for an email, every word and every sentence that you write will match that vision. So then the purpose and the clarity of the email is like 10 times better than if you just kind of write it without having a vision. And now if you're here like, but just give me a template, please. Listen, you need to chill and stop being a template junkie. If you feel stuck at this point and you need inspiration, all you have to do is go to your inbox and look at all the emails that you receive from different brands. So when you have the outline for the email, or when you sit down to create the outline for the email, you have the vision. And again, you're going to brainstorm all the different things you could include in the email to make the vision come true. So if you're thinking social proof, you can list, maybe you have photos, maybe you can get a video testimonial, maybe you can get a story, maybe you can do a podcast episode with the client, or maybe you can write about this or about that. Just list as many ideas as you can and go as crazy as you want. It doesn't matter, because you just want to let the ideas flow. And then again, you're going to take that list of ideas and you're going to pick the right ones that will work for this specific email. And then you're going to organize it in a structure, and then bam, all you need to do from now on is just fill in the boxes. And look, let me give you a cool example of how a template could actually mess you up. Let's say you download one of those templates and you have a long ass email for the welcome sequence. But the brand that you're writing for is actually very sharp and quick and focused, and it's for busy people. And all the first email was supposed to do is just welcome them to the community and tell them what to expect. So instead of writing this long ass email, which doesn't suit your audience, or spending hours and hours trying to condense that long email into a short sentence, you could literally just do a 1-sentence email. How epic would that be? Something like, "Hi Joe, welcome to the gang. We'll send you more info tomorrow. Keep an eye out." Like, have you ever seen a promotional email like this? Probably not, but it would work better in this specific example than a 2,000-word essay about the brand and how happy they are that you're on their email list. And especially if you're a copywriter and you're a new copywriter, don't fall for the mental trap that the more words you write, the better. A lot of what we do is actually about condensing big ideas into few words. Anyway, We're almost there. We're almost finished. So step 5 is just about polishing the whole thing. So let's say that you went through the outline of the welcome sequence and you went into every email and you created it following that same structure, right? So you create the outline by doing the different ideas, and then you go in and you fill it in and you have all the emails ready, right? So in step 5, what you're going to do is you're going to go over every single email and you're going to edit it, making sure that it aligns to the specific vision for the email, but also for the specific vision of the entire welcome sequence. So you just want to make sure that it makes sense. You want to make sure that all the emails that you've created are the best possible emails you could have written in this moment, in the present moment. You want to make sure that it aligns, that it flows, it matches with the experience you want for the customer, but also the business goals. You can even talk to some potential customers if you have the opportunity and ask them for feedback on the welcome sequence, because your ideas are your ideas. But the thing is that if your potential audience is a 70-year-old man who lives in a care home, then probably you have some blind spots. So it's definitely easier to go out there and talk to a couple of 70-year-old men in a care home than it is to sit there and try to imagine what they feel and how they would feel reading your welcome sequence. And if you can't do that, then maybe you should just talk to a few people, either fellow marketers, people on your team or in your brand, to get their feedback and kind of share ideas. And obviously another thing is that you want to test different ideas. You don't just want to stick to one and blindly believe that the one idea you have created is going to be the absolute best. You need to test your welcome sequence, because basically you don't know anything until you test, until you have data to inform your information. Because you see, writing a welcome sequence shouldn't really be a one-off job. It's an ongoing project, especially if the email sequence is already growing at a good rate. Then you really have the potential to test many different things pretty quickly. But obviously testing is such a huge topic, so I'm not going to go into that right now in this video. But if you enjoyed this tutorial and you're hungry for more, then I'm going to leave you a special link in the description where you can access 3 copywriting trainings on welcome sequences. And in those trainings, I cover testing and I cover what your conversion rate should be and what your open rate should be. I also talk about consumer psychology and I show you real life examples of welcome sequences. The whole thing is like an hour long and I promise you that you're going to love it. My students say that it's super in-depth and detailed, and it helped them write welcome sequences for their clients. So go and check it out. The link is in the description, but no pressure. Obviously, you don't have to go and do the additional training. You can just leave it here and let me know how you liked this video in the comments below. And obviously, again, I would be really grateful if you liked this video to support my work. So that's it for today. Thank you so much. I am so grateful for you being here, and I'll see you in the next video.